Welcome to the space where creators have aligned a positive and intellectual collab of open minds for sharing and learning from one another. It's a vibe. ReadswithRosa podcast on the mic. Subscribe, educator spitting bars. I guess you didn't know I'm multifaceted and humble, checking off life goals. The classroom is my comfort zone where I plant and sow seeds of knowledge, compassion, empathy, and hope. Reading is the key to unlocking your potential. Countless benefits, including cognitive and mental. Regardless of the genre, books are highly influential. Go get yours, I'll get mine. Making strides, monumental. And rock with me and get down to this new jam. With my friends, I had a very simple plan. Educate the masses through books and life lessons. It's the grand slam. I'm out. Kia ora and welcome to the Reads with Rosa podcast. I'm so excited to introduce today's guest. She is a fellow bookworm. She's part of our Pasifika Bookstagrammer online community. She creates content with her sister where they vlog about everyday life. She also runs a booktube channel to promote current reads and her favorite Indigenous and fantasy books. Representing the Cook Islands from Brisbane, Australia, welcome to the show, Katrina, aka PolynesianReader. Woohoo! Hey, Katrina. How's that?
That was good. That was good.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
And I'm chilling. Right now. It's like pouring down. It's been raining here. I think there was like a typhoon passing through, or there's a typhoon on its way. So we had a lot of rain yesterday and today. So, but yeah, now I'm all good. I'm in quarantine still. This is my last week of quarantine.
Oh, good.
So yeah. But yeah, how was your day today? What did you get up to? It's a Sunday. What's a normal Sunday for you?
Honestly, a normal Sunday for me would just be chilling at home reading a book. Honestly, that is pretty much the only time I get off from work is coming home, just chilling, reading a book. My sister started getting into reading, so now she's kind of joined me on the weekend.
Okay.
And I'll tell you something, she's not into reading at all, but ever since I kind of started this, she's kind of like jumped on now with me reading. And I feel like she's buying more books than me these days, which is that should have been me.
She's trying to one
more books.
She's trying to one up you. I think she's trying to one up you, sis.
I think she is, she's like, hey, you know what? I bought 10 more books. I was like, what?
You know what? It's so interesting that you mentioned that, because honestly, I don't think it's that people are anti-books, that our Pasifika people are anti-books. What I think is that, it's just influence. Like, they might see someone, like she sees you and she gets inspired by that. And then she gets into reading. It's like my friends, when I started the whole Bookstagram page, then they started asking me questions. And I honestly didn't even know some of them. I was like, really? You read? Well, I'm not trying to be all judgmental, but I was like, really? But honestly, it just takes one person to get, someone super hyped and excited about reading. So it's so cool that your sister's getting onto that.
Yeah, it's not something that she usually does. I'm usually the one who buys the books and she'll come and read it. But now she's like really getting into it. And lately she's been buying more and more, and she's been finishing books faster than me. And I'm just like, all right, are we in some sort of competition here? You've got 5 books down in 1 week. I've only got 2 done. So are we competing here? What's going on?
Man, you must be a good influence and role model for her, because that is awesome, man. Like, I love to hear that. I love hearing when people are just getting hooked on reading. It takes one person to inspire them, and they get the bug, and they're on it. So that's so cool.
Yeah.
Is that your sister that you do the vlogging with? The vlogs
Yeah.
with?
Yeah.
Aesha? Did I say her name right? Aesha?
Yeah, Aesha.
Aesha. That's so
cool. I know.
She
a lot of people get her name confused, but it's just Aesha. But some people, I think sometimes when people say to me, how do you say her name? They always say Aesha. And I'm like, it's just Aesha. Basically.
Aesha.
I'll tell her that. I'll tell her.
Okay, that's good to know. So I was wondering if you could just give our audience just a brief introduction. Like, I know you as many things. Like, man, for real, you have many platforms. But you know, who is Katrina? Who is Polynesian Reader?
Who am I? Oh, wow, you've really put me on the spot. Oh my goodness. To be quite honest, I don't know. I'm just like many things altogether. I'm just me myself. I don't know what else to say. I am just Katrina who loves to read, loves to vlog, but somebody who really loves their culture as well, which is, I think, something that I'm trying to adapt in my own life because growing up, I didn't really know much about my culture. So I think for me, it's just trying to, I don't know, influence other people out there somehow or my own people in some way, if that makes any damn sense to
Oh, it
anybody.
makes a lot of sense, and it leads us real nicely into this next section because, you know, last week, I mean, it's just finished, Cook Islands Language Week in New Zealand, right?
Oh,
And
yes, yes.
yeah, so you know, in terms of like staying connected to your roots, is there a community there in Brisbane? You know, do you do dancing or like how do you stay connected to your culture or is it through church? You know, because like yeah, like
True. I stay connected through my mum because she's very rooted in the Cook Island culture, my family, and my church. Yeah, pretty much all the people that I'm around with. I've been around them, for many years, and I've always been inspired by my own people, by my own culture. But I think it's my mum who really kind of influenced me and my sister and my brother to kind of stick with the culture, and kind of be like that next generation to pass it on because I don't know, to be honest, it's kind of dying out for us personally. And I think it's important that we, keep that tradition going because today's generation is not really learning or practicing the language or the culture anymore, to be quite honest. So I think my mother was the one and her siblings and my family, they've been telling us to, keep the culture, keep the bloodline going. And so that's why when I started BookTube and when I started YouTube, I wanted to make sure that I was putting the culture out there as well, representing me as a person and who I represent and the people that I represent in my family. So that's pretty much the influence. It's pretty much my parents. They've been
inspirational,
influencing that.
sis. It's so
Yeah. Thank
inspirational.
you.
No, I mean, for real, you know, I love it because you're right. Like, I mean, we have to hold we have to hold on to our Pasifika cultures, our language, you know, and try and stay connected in whatever way. And I love that you're using your social media platforms to say, hey, look, I do love to read books, but you know, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, and this is who I am. This is my language, and this is my culture.
Yeah.
Do you do dancing in church? I mean, do you do Cook Island dancing? Beautiful, beautiful Cook Island dancing, or do you like to cook and make Cook Island food? Do you speak the language through church? Is it how is it? What kinds of things do you do? To
I don't do Cook Island dancing anymore. I used to when I was young,
yeah.
when I was fit.
Wait, I saw that picture that you posted. I think it was on
Oh,
you and Aisha's page, right? It's so
yeah,
cute.
yeah.
I was just like, oh, that is so cute. So back in those days, you were.
Yeah, we used to do it a lot, especially in school.
Mm,
And sometimes you have Cook Island competitions, and sometimes we used to do a lot of those back in the days. But I think in school they wanted, I think this was maybe the early 2000s. They wanted a lot of people who came from cultural backgrounds to showcase their culture, which was Harmony Day. And I remember my mum was saying, "Hey, why don't you girls join up for the Cook Island dancing group?" And at the time, I was like, okay, okay, fine, I'll join. And surprisingly enough, it wasn't just only Cook Island people. We had like Samoans and Tongans and Fijians who wanted to learn the culture and the dance. And we all danced that same day, and I actually was like really happy and proud because we all came together. I went and joined the Samoan group. If I've learnt my kukai, I go and join the Tongans. And so I think through there I did a lot of the dancing. I think once I got to maybe late 20s, I kind of stopped.
Yeah.
I just kind of stopped. Life happened, work happens. But food is definitely one Cook Island food. I do that a lot on the channel with my sister, and we do that with our mum. And she's quite popular on there because she does a lot of Cook Island food dishes, and everybody keeps asking for them. Like, when is the next dish? When are you guys going to put out the next Cook Island food? And we're just like, damn, Mum, you're more popular than us.
I was going to say,
your channel.
I was going to say, it sounds like your mum is the influencer.
Yeah,
How dare she?
So we're not popular no more. It's you
awesome.
Now. So she's literally like, everybody who messages us is like, hey, can we see your mum again? And I'm like, okay. So I'm just like, Mum, you know what? You're like the more popular one. She's like, oh, why me? And I'm like, well, because you make the food, you make the dishes, and everybody wants you to be on there. But I think it's because they can kind of relate to our mum, because our mum's a bit much on our channel, and she don't hold back on nothing. She just says it like it is, like a typical Cook Island mum. But that's how I pretty much still influence our culture on our people, is using the platforms that we have, because it's not much there on the social media platform anymore. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, man. Shout out to your mom, Katrina. Shout out to Katrina's mom, the influencer. I love it. I was like recently, I don't know if it was like a few weeks ago, perhaps they had that big Cook Island festival in New Zealand.
The Maivanui?
Te Maivanui.
Yeah.
And like, did you have families, cousins, that were dancing in that, or were your villages represented in that festival?
Yeah. My mum is, because there's 15 islands and people only think there's one island. So
right.
I get this question a lot. I'm like, there's 15? Which one are you talking about? So my mum is from Mangaya. So I saw that group and I was like, oh my gosh, our island is dancing. I literally dragged my sister to the TV. I'm like, no, we have to go watch this. She's like, what? I'm like, they just had the Maivanui in Wellington. And I was just absolutely shocked at how gorgeous it was. Like, I literally like had a bit of a tear of how so many young people were in it. And I was like, what? This is crazy. So I told my mum, hey, the island's dancing up in the group, and I let her watch it for a bit, went away, came back, and I could just see a little bit of a tear. I think she was just happy to see young people part of it. But no, my mom's from Mangaya, and I knew a few people. I knew a few like social media influencers I've met, like Lovey. I don't know if you know him as Fresh Prince. He's quite popular.
Sounds familiar, but
Instagram. He does like really funny videos. I met him a while ago, and he was dancing in one of the groups. I was shocked because I met him a couple of years ago, and he told me he wanted to get more involved with the culture, the Cook Island side. He didn't know much, and I was shocked to see him dancing on stage. He told me he doesn't know how to dance Cook Island. That's a lie, because he was dancing all over the stage like a professional. I saw a few of my family members there, a few cousins. And I don't know, it just made me so happy just to see them just participating and taking part in the culture, because that's so important. And I wish I was there, but I need to look good, to look fit up on that stage. But
the reason why I asked if your villages were represented there, or your islands, is because there were some Samoans. I don't know which. I know some Samoans that were there dancing, and all I've been doing on YouTube is they've been premiering like different parts of the festival.
Yeah,
so I've been just waiting and watching.
Yeah.
What I'm loving is the singing, is obviously the dancing, but man, the costumes for the different sets.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, I didn't even know here's me, how rude, just assuming that it was just the dance. I didn't realize there were many different types of dance, and then there's like a man. I'm learning a lot about Cook Island culture and dance that I honestly did not know. But it's, man, the costume changes are just beautiful, and you know what it is you're seeing many different sizes on there. Because
Yeah.
I feel like traditionally, like with Tahiti, you know, there's this image, right? These are
Mm.
what Polynesian dances look like. But when you look at that recent festival, like you said, young and old and different body images, man, it's so beautiful. So,
Oh,
and
yeah.
everyone's going hundies, everyone's going 200, man, and it's so beautiful to watch. You must have been you must be so proud, because I know if I was, I mean, I'm not even Cook Islander, but I was sitting there like, yo, man, this is
Yeah.
so dope. Like, it's such a beautiful, beautiful, you know, beautiful dancing.
It was, I think what I was so happy to see was everybody was of different sizes,
Mm,
different age groups. And for the first time, I was like, we need more of this. Like
mm,
this whole body image stuff.
right.
Like, no matter what size you are, it doesn't care what's hanging out.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. And for the first time, I think that's what I said to my sister. I was like, it's about time that we start seeing this more
Mm,
often. Because I know growing up, you had to be like a certain size or a certain look. But when I watched that and I just saw everybody just flaunting everything, I was just like, that's it. That's what we need. We need more of that. And I was so happy. I was so proud. I was like, wow, they really changed up the game this
mm,
year. I haven't seen it like this before. I heard it was so hyped up in New Zealand.
mm.
I was like, we need to do the same thing here in Australia.
Yeah. Do
A
you
lot.
have anything? Do you have any? I mean, obviously, with this pandemic and stuff, a lot of festivals and things have been cancelled. But is there? I mean, I know you've got your local community in Brisbane, but do you have anything like Polyfest or like, the Cook Island Festival recently? Like, is there something like that that young people can attend or be a part of, or is it more just within your local communities?
We do have Polyfest, but most of the festivals this year have been cancelled. We've
Mm,
just come out of a lockdown at the moment because we had someone in the community who had the Delta strain,
uh,
and then all of Brisbane was put on lockdown for a week. So every time we try to have a festival, it doesn't go ahead because someone in the community has either got the COVID or it's been spread throughout other communities, and then they have to shut everything down. So hopefully at the end of this year, there will be something. I heard there might be something in October. I'm not quite too sure. But if there is, I'll definitely post it up on my Instagram, as I always do. But yeah, it's just been a bit crazy this whole week. We've had one girl from a community who's gone out and spread this virus, and then all of a sudden everything had to close, including businesses. So yeah, it just threw everything out of whack.
mm. Are you working from home currently, or because of the lockdown, have you been working from home, or are you kind of between like home and work?
I have to go out actually. I can't work from home. Neither can my sister because we work in the healthcare field, so we have to be at our jobs, which is I wish I could work from home, honestly. If YouTube, was successful for me, I'd be working from home, but unfortunately it's not. So I gotta go out there and make money.
Man, I noticed on your Bookstagram page that you have the Cook Island flag, and then you have the Niuean flag. Are you part Niuean?
My father's New Wayne, yes.
So
Yeah.
okay, so then let's talk about your Niuean culture, right? How um yeah, did you grow up doing Niuean dancing? They have their own style of dancing, and
I did
did you?
actually. I
Okay.
did, yeah. On my New Wayne side, my dad's side, I was influenced a lot by his culture too. Oh, my dad, he's just so funny. He always used to try and shove me and my sister a lot in the New Wayne dancing group, but most of the time, me and Aesha would be like, Yes, no, yes, no. Sometimes it was in between. But yeah, I was influenced a lot by the New Wayne culture. And my dad's no longer here anymore, so he's passed on. But I learned what I could from him, and he always said, if I'm not around, go back to New Wayne and learn as much as you can. So yeah, I pretty much grew up in both cultures, to be honest, both. So I'm very happy and very proud.
That's awesome. Yeah, I noticed. I don't know why I had never noticed it, but I was just like, I went through your page like just before when I was waiting for you, and then I was like, wait a minute, how have I never noticed that you wearing flag there? Right, I've got to ask you. And do you speak or understand some of the language, or is it hard to kind of like find people to speak Niuean around there, or?
There, to be honest, there's not really much New Wayne people around here. It's only a few I've met in the community. I can't really speak New Wayne, but I can understand it. So yeah, New Wayne is a little bit, for me personally, it was a little bit hard to learn. Even my dad used to try and make me learn it, and I used to be like, "What? You're talking too fast." So there really isn't much of a New Wayne community here, not that I know of. But I have run into a few of them in my own community who have said to me that they are New Wayne. So I don't know, maybe I'll have to start something here very soon.
Maybe you need to start something, sis. Get onto it.
I know, I do.
So you mentioned, I mentioned before we talked about vlogging. Your mom's pretty, she's pretty famous on there. How did that come about? Like, what prompted you and your sister to start that? To just start vlogging about your everyday life.
No one knows this, but a couple years ago, we started a channel. I'm not even going to go into it. It's just tragic.
Do I need to like go and look it up or something?
No, it's gone. I deleted it.
Gone.
Like,
Okay.
I'm not even going to go there. But a couple years ago, when YouTube wasn't really a thing, one time I looked up online to see if there were any Pasifika people, just doing YouTube. I don't know how long this was, like maybe 7, 8 years ago. And I found no one. And I said to my sister, I don't know if you've noticed, but there isn't many Pasifika people online, because we used to watch a lot of British YouTubers, American YouTubers, and they were the big YouTubers back in the days. But I went online to find anyone who was like us, and there was no one. And I kind of felt a bit down because I'm like, where's our people? Like, we've got so much to offer, like so much. So then my sister was the one who said to me, why don't we just start a channel? And I was like, I don't know if I want to put my life online. But she's like, look, there's no Pasifika people online. Why don't we just do it? Get ourselves out there. So we did it for a couple years, and then we stopped because our dad passed away. Then I deleted that channel. We came back again, which is the channel you've seen now, which is Katrina and Aesha. And we wanted to encourage like our own Pasifika people to, pick up the camera and just film, do something. And I think ever since that's happened, there's just been a huge explosion of islanders in the poly community that's come on YouTube. And I think you might know a few of them. I don't know if you know like people like Drams Fam or who are the really top people? I don't know. There's quite a few. And ever since that's happened, I'm just so happy to see more and more Pasifika people online, because 10 years ago, there was none of them. Today, there's a whole heap. And I think that's why we started it, because we wanted to see more Pasifika people on this platform. And I'm just so happy to see that there's so many now. And now when I type in, all you do is just put hashtag Polytube, and you'll get a list of Pasifika YouTubers just doing YouTube of everyday life. Some of them do food. Our favorite is Faye. I don't know if you know Faye Vids. She does mukbangs. She is literally one of the favorites at the moment, and she's Samoan. And she's one of the top, I'd say, poly YouTubers. She's
right. I'm gonna hashtag. I'll look for that hashtag after this. I mean, I really don't like. It's so cool to hear you talk about it, because, and I wanted to ask you, because I know that you have been on YouTube for a while and that you had that channel with your sister. But like for me, like to be honest, I wasn't even like I use YouTube to watch music. I like listen to music, watch music. But before this podcast, like I didn't even have a YouTube channel. Like I literally created it. I had an email address, but I just created it because for the podcast. But it's so cool to listen to one of the pioneers of PolyTube, yo, right here. What an honor to have you here on the podcast and hear you talking about this.
Thank you. I was so nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, what's she gonna ask me? Are they gonna be serious questions?
Yeah, I was like, man, I mean, I was just chatting, I know you love books, right? That's the one thing we have in common, and I try and get, everyone that's come on, they have a love for books, even though a lot of them are not bookstagrammers. But I wanted to get Sela on. I wanted to get you on. I know that Sela, she put us on her blog. It was so funny because I remember at the time when when she did that write up on us, and I remember you saying, "Oh, I never thought anyone would ask me," and I was feeling the same way. Like I never thought anyone would ask me to be on a blog because, like I don't really. I'm an introvert, and people didn't even believe it. I'm like, for real, man, for real.
I'm an introvert too. I think we're just, we connect.
Man,
I don't know what it is.
And even like doing this, and it's so out of my comfort zone.
Oh my gosh,
Having that public, for real. Even having that public Bookstagram page, like I have a private Instagram, which is just family, right? But it's like when I made that Bookstagram page and I chose to make it public, like even writing reviews, and I'm always just kind of like, oh man, people are gonna be all judging me for my stink reviews. I'm always like that. I'm always questioning, but I think right now I'm really at a like I got to a point where I was like, you know what, I didn't care. People are gonna like they're either gonna like it or they're not gonna like it, because we don't all like the same books. So I think I'm kind of really at that point where I'm like, it's so good. They like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. But man, then I started the podcast and I was like, yo, putting myself out there even more. Oh my God. It's
And
scary.
that's so good though. You literally took a step to like do a podcast. Like that is just next level. Do you know what? I was so scared to do Bookstagram because I said to my sister, I don't know if there's any polys out there that read. And I actually went online to try and find some, and I did come across you and a couple of other people, and I was pretty shocked at like how many Pasifika people were reading, and I was just like, oh, I think I found a community that I can go to, and I was just like, wow, there's so many. And then when we had the Pasifika book challenge, and like the amount of people that was in that, I was like, what the hell? Have I been sleeping under a rock or something? Where have these people been hiding? I've been trying to look for yous. I was literally so scared, but my sister said to me, hey, look, if you've got a passion for something, just do it. Just go for it. And I was like, you know what? I'll take the leap. I'll do a YouTube channel and I'll do a Bookstagram. And here I am doing a podcast with you.
It's an honor to have you here. It's so funny because do you know your Bookstagram, right? So your Bookstagram, and then your BookTube, which is your YouTube channel, did that come up at the same time? Did you start the Bookstagram first, or were you doing the YouTube, the BookTube channel first? Like
I think I did the BookTube channel first. I think it was the BookTube channel. But it wasn't long after that I said, if I'm going to do a BookTube, I need an Instagram. So I started the Instagram. I wasn't really keen on doing an Instagram, but then I was like, look, if there's more people here on Instagram, I'm pretty sure they're going to find it. So I started an Instagram and I left it, I think, for maybe a couple months, came back, and then I started posting up more books. I wanted to start telling people about more books about Pasifika people and culture and indigenous books and books that I loved, like fantasy. And then I woke up one morning and I was like, what the hell is going on my Instagram? I had messages from people. I had people like, oh, I've never heard this book before. Where can I find this book? Where can I buy it? And I was like, whoa, calm down. I'm trying to message everybody here. What's going on? And I think what surprised me was like, wow, these people don't really know. And I was like, damn, I need to do something. So I messaged people. I told them where you could get the book. And I started thinking about, okay, people are going to ask me this. I'm going to start doing some more videos on it, because these are books I don't usually hear much in the booktube community, because everybody in the booktube community likes to talk about the really popular books.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because my sister's one of those people. She loves them. She loves the Shadow and Bone series, and she's taken my whole set off my bookshelf. So now that's gone. So I'm thinking to myself, damn, I need to do something here. I need to really start getting on board with this, because this is crazy. And now I've met so many incredible people in this community. It's amazing. I love the support from this community, from the Bookstagram and the YouTube community. It's amazing. And meeting people like you, I'm so happy. I've met someone like you. It's so cool. You wait till I'm done here. I'll be off in my sitting room telling my whole family what I just did.
I mean, yeah, how do you, okay, before I ask this question, I want to go back to the Bookstagram, right? Because, when we had that Pasifika Readathon challenge, exactly like you said, I honestly did not realize, just like you said, how many people were out there. And what I was doing on a daily was, like, I was, because the chat was it was blowing up, right? And I didn't always have time to check it, but I was clicking the hashtag Pasifika Readathon challenge, and that's how I was finding out, man, that there was so much more of a community of readers, or if they weren't Pasifika, they were interested in learning more about Polynesia, Micronesia, Melanesia. So even that was like a learning opportunity for me, because I was coming across books and authors that, I mean, I thought I knew a lot, and then I was like, bots. No, apparently I don't know a lot, because I was finding out about people that I didn't even realize. Then I'd be on Amazon or looking on the books, online bookshops, and realizing, some of these authors have been around, but the exposure has been so limited, which is why that Bookstagram, Pasifika Bookstagrammer's community is so important. So I guess my question for you is, knowing that you do that, you do your vlogging with your sister and with mum, and then you also have booktube. How do you, does it get overwhelming when you, like you said, you wake up and, oh my God, your DMs are blowing up because people are asking questions or commenting? How do you manage your time between the different projects that you're working on? Do you manage your time? How?
I do. I actually do. Weekends is usually the time for me to work on BookTube and my YouTube channel. So I pre-film. So if I'm running like a BookTube channel or a YouTube channel, I will pre-film some videos. So maybe I'll film about maybe 3-4 videos in one day, take a break, because my brain is fried for the whole filming period. Come back again, film some more, and then I'll upload it to the computer and I'll leave it, because I don't want to overdo it. I've just done a whole day of filming, so I don't want to fry my brain. I'll leave it to the next day. I'm like, you know what? That's it for me today. Enough. I'll come back tomorrow, maybe later on in the afternoon. I'll be like, all right, I'll edit 2 videos, leave them on my desktop, and then the day that I want to upload, then I'll upload the clips. Same thing with the vlogs. I just pre-film. Sometimes my sister will do that. Like, she'll be like, oh, hey, I've done the vlogging for the week. Do you want me to edit the videos? I'm like, yeah. So we kind of share the workload, because I'm focusing on BookTube. She's focusing on the vlog. So she kind of helps out in a way. So we kind of work together to try and share the load, because sometimes I get burnt out.
Yeah.
There's some weeks I get like, oh, no, I can't do it. Like, I need a break. I need to breathe, or else this up here is going to fry and I'm going to lose it. So sometimes I schedule it, but I always make sure I just try and pre-film at least some videos before they go up, so that I'm not all over the place when I upload everything and I'm like, oh goodness, what clip is this or what clip is that? Oh great, I've got to edit this, I've got to edit that. So I try and schedule as best as I can. Usually Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays is usually the days I schedule for filming. But usually by Monday, the videos will be edited, ready to go. So yeah, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes when it comes to filming. I hope that answers your question.
Man, it sounds intense, but it sounds like you also, you've got a system in place and it seems to be working. I mean, I can imagine that you must get burnt out. It
Yeah, I
must
do.
be overwhelming at times. And I guess, like sometimes I watch the YouTube videos and I just think, man, everything's so perfect. When you're watching these videos, it just seems so organized and I'm just like, man, how do you maintain the energy and stay in that space, that man, I didn't even know how you guys do it.
Oh,
Like
really? I don't think I'm always critiquing my work. I'm always like, oh, it's not that great, or it's the clip's not right. Like I'm always trying to perfect it. I guess I'm a perfectionist sometimes, and I don't know. I've got a creative brain because my sister's not. She's like, you know what? I'll leave the creativity to you. You know what to do in this area. I'll leave it to you. And I'm like, okay, all right, then I'll do it. So sometimes I don't know. It just comes out of nowhere. I guess it's something that I've had for a long time. I think I did more better in school with art than I did with math and English. So I don't know. Maybe there's something there.
I see. So, in terms of reading, I just want to go back a bit to young Katrina. Like, I know you've mentioned, you alluded to it earlier, you love reading. That's your thing, right?
Mm.
But were you a reader when you were younger? Like, were you that kid in the class who was always reading? Did you have access to books? Like, did you have books around the house? Or were you someone who went to the public library? There's a couple of questions in there, so I'll let you have a moment to answer.
I wasn't an avid reader when I was younger, but to be honest, I always wanted books in the home. But growing up, my parents couldn't really afford those because, books back in the days were so expensive. I think I remember asking my mom one time for, the Harry Potter books every kid loved when they were growing up. And I asked her, can we get this book? And she's like, oh, no, I can't really afford it. And I said, oh, I didn't complain or anything because, during that time, mom was only trying to put food on the table and look after us. So she said, you can always try the library. I was thinking to myself, why haven't I thought about the library? Like, come on, the most common place to go get a book. And I hadn't even thought of that. And so I started going to the library more often at school. So I would ask my own teacher, for books that I can put on, I don't know what they called it back then, was it borrow or loan or something, just for me to read. And there were times I'd go back to that same library and read the same damn book. Like, I don't know what it is. I just had a habit of reading the same books. I would stick to Charlotte's Web for like, I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks. And then if I didn't want to read that one, I would read another one. So I think my love for reading did start quite late. I'd say maybe grade 6, primary school, because I really struggled with reading when I was growing up. And I loved the pictures, but most times I had a really bad struggle with reading. So I'm thankful for my teachers who really helped me with that, because now I'm an addict reader and I can't stop reading till today.
Shout out to Katrina's teachers who cared.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I really struggled with reading when I was growing up. I wasn't like the other kids. The other kids would be a lot faster and I would be a lot slower. It used to really upset me because I wanted to read the really bigger books, but if I couldn't get the basics, you'd have to, start from the basics to read the bigger ones. And so I think that's where my love for reading came from, really, just from there. And from there, I've always had a passion for reading ever since.
Do you remember buying your first book?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do. What was it called? I don't know if you know the cartoon, The Magic School Bus or something? I don't know. Oh my gosh, that's the first book I went and bought. I don't know why. It was just one of those books that, that kids get drawn to, the yellow bus and the pictures. That was my first book. I remember jumping up and down in the store. My dad was like, calm down, calm down. All right, we've got the book. We can go now.
Yeah. I mean, it's special, right? Like, I think,
Yeah.
I mean, I can I can relate to the whole, not having money to buy books. And like at my primary school, I spent a lot of time getting to know the librarian and becoming good friends with the librarian, so they could tell me about all these books that I was so curious about, because you could take a number of books out, right?
Yeah.
And then in high school, I discovered the public library. Like after school, I'd go to sports, and then on my way home, I'd stop at the public library and just get lost in the shelves. And
Yeah.
like even then, I hadn't, it was not really a lot of money to buy books. But when I got to university and then I had a job, then I was just like buying a book. And just buying books whenever I could. Like, it's just one of those things. I mean, yeah, I can relate. Just even the excitement of being able to buy that first book. Me, it's something that just sticks with you, right? Like,
Yeah, it does.
uh, I'm sorry, man.
Oh,
This
you're
is so
gonna
cool.
make me cry.
so, you know, so then let's talk about BookTube. I know we're going kind of back and forth. How do you see your BookTube channel? I mean, do you have goals for it, right? In terms of where you're at now with BookTube, where do you see yourself a year or 2 years from now? Do you see it as something that you're going to keep up? Do you see it evolving into becoming like what? How do you see your BookTube channel kind of evolving over the next year or few years?
Hmm. To be honest, I'm hoping and praying that I could make it a job one day, because I love reading, honestly. I do. And if I can encourage others out there, especially our own people, to jump on board and do the same thing, I would love it. I would love to see this as a job. I see sometimes when I look at other booktubers and I see them doing this for a living, I think to myself, if they can do it, I can do it. I
I
mean,
know.
what's what's
Seriously.
what's stopping me from, like, achieving these goals? Like, I've got other job commitments, and I had this funny you asking me this, because I had this conversation with my sister. She's like, do you see yourself, doing this one day as a job? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I hope so. I hope it grows. I hope it reaches, a lot of people, and I hope one day I can get paid for it so I can quit my own job and do this. Because I love it. It honestly, when I'm doing booktube and when I start filming or when I start reading books, I literally feel like I go into another world when it comes to reading or taking up a book for that whole day, because it's just I have a passion for it. I don't know why. I never used to, but I hope and pray in the next year or two it grows and it reaches more people, and I hope I can be an impact to them and they can be an impact to me. And I hope I can share so many books that people have never heard of to other people around the world, because I'm getting people from Germany or Sweden, and they're asking me for Pacifica book recommendations, and it's not every day you get a message from someone asking for Pacifica book recommendations or for academic purposes. So I don't know. I pray and hope it becomes a job.
And when it does, I'll be like, come back on the podcast. Let's talk about how much money you're making. Just kidding. In terms of like, just going back to school, do you remember this was something that I asked Sella as well. Like, do you remember seeing books with characters that looked like you? You know, did you come across any books written by Pasifika authors or Maori authors, you know, when you were growing up in school, or not really?
No, to be honest, I never did.
Mm,
And I think that's one thing I wish I had grown up with. Today, I think today's generation is so lucky now. They're gonna get authors that are who are writing books today for younger people. But I never really grew up with any books that I read that I could relate to. You know, when you open up a book and you don't see yourself in there, I used to question this. I think I questioned my mom one time. I asked her, "Is there any books, written for Pacifica kids?" And she didn't even have the answer for that either. And I
mm,
don't know, I just kind of sat in my room a bit confused as to, oh man, I can't really relate to these characters. I used to get a bit upset about it, to be honest. I think it's more like a sentimental question to me.
mm,
But I used to think, damn, there's no one I can relate to in these books. And I think I struggled with that for a long time up until high school. I
mm,
really struggled. And it wasn't until when I saw Stella, when
mm,
she came out with that Pacifica book for kids,
mm.
and she sent it through the email, and I was just so shocked
I
when I
agree.
read through it. I literally was bawling my eyes. I was literally bawling my eyes out because I was like, literally, I wish this book came out when I was in primary school.
I read your review. I read
Yeah,
what you wrote about it.
yeah,
Like,
she put it up on Instagram. I was like,
yeah.
no joke. I literally cried when I
Mm,
opened it up. Like the minute I saw the cover, I started reading it. I was bawling throughout the whole thing. It was just so emotional for me. I was just so happy, and I said that what you're doing is so incredible, and keep continuing to write those books. It's amazing. But no, yeah, school was a big struggle for me to
mm,
relate to any characters in the books, and I think I struggled with that for quite some time.
mm.
Not anymore though. I'm cool.
You're good. You're good. Shout out to Sella Atiola, Stories by Sella, A Glass of Read on Instagram. Check her out. Yeah, I hear you. I read your review on the book. Um, I think, yeah, like when I read it, I mean, it's so powerful. The themes of the book, you know, because obviously the age group, it's for very young children, right? It's very simple sentences, very simple language. But
Mm,
the themes of the book are so powerful, which is, you know, why I said these themes can apply across age levels for
yeah,
age group levels for readers, you know, because I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know for Pacifica, for Pacific Islanders, it's that it resonates because when you live in New Zealand or you live in Australia or in the United States, I think all of us are always trying to find that connection to the homeland. To our homeland, to trying to stay connected to our roots. And then to be growing up in the diaspora, and then not seeing people that you may go to church and see your people, your tribe, but then you go to school and you don't see anyone that looks like you. So then you
yeah,
start questioning, identity and that. So it's such a beautiful book. And I'm so, I was really excited that she put it out there because she was on the show and she said initially she was just saying, "Look, I'm going to put it up for my daughters. It's something on the bookshelf for them to be able to read and see
yeah,
characters." So just the fact that she ended up publishing and putting it out to the world for the world to read. I mean, it's precious. It's such a beautiful it's her legacy, right? It's something that her daughters can look back on. Um
yeah,
yeah. But I read your review, and it was when I read it, it was interesting to me because it made me think, did I look for people that look like me in books when I was growing up? That's what I was asking myself when I read your review. And
Oh.
and to be honest, I don't think that I looked for people that looked like me in books. I was like, to me, when I was little, it didn't. I was I was one of those readers where if it didn't matter to me what the character at that time, I didn't know. I
Mm.
just thought I was the same as everyone else. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I was a shy kid, so when I read, I got lost in books, right? And
Yeah.
so if there was a superhero, I was that superhero.
Yeah.
I don't think I realized, um, the whole power struggle and all that kind of stuff in terms of different characters and storylines. I didn't realize any of that stuff, I guess, until I was much like in university, perhaps when I started then buying books and started realizing, yo, hold up, why are there no? Do you know what I mean? Like I don't think
Yeah.
I was one of those kids that I was just like, if that person's a superhero in the book, I'm that superhero. If that person is a detective, I'm that detective. And not once did it occur to me that all the kids in the book may have been white or do you know? But
Yeah.
I do remember reading Maui and the Sun. Those,
Oh,
like books, and I used to think, wow, this is so cool, myths and legends. So that kind of those books really kind of got me excited and thinking, wow, is this what our people looked like before? But in terms of like finding that, so when I read your review, I was like, man, it really made me think back, like reflect. What was
oh,
I thinking like as a child,
yeah.
Um, but yeah, again, shout out to Silla. Shout out to Silla. I mean, it's cool to see there are some of our Bookstagram fam who are writing books, who are aspiring writers. Are you an aspiring writer, Katrina?
I know. I know. I'm not an aspiring writer. Look, I'll leave it to those ones who can write, but
Mhm.
no, I'm not a writer. I'm just someone who just wants to give a platform to those who don't have a voice for their
Yeah.
books. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to just share their stories and their books on my platform because that's what I love to do. But right, as far as writing, no.
Yeah, me too. That I can relate. Me too. I'm like, nah. I don't. What do you even? Where do you start? Like,
Yeah.
I'm
I see
hard.
something. I see our Pasifika community, going for it with the writing. I'm just like, wow,
Mm,
these guys can really write. And when I see them, like Arcella, when she comes out with a book, I was just like blown away. I was like, damn, these guys are killing it. And
for
for me,
real.
I'm just like, I think I'll leave it at my platform where I just case your books, but
I hear you. Me too. Me
yeah,
too.
I don't do writing.
Man, are you one of those? Because you like fantasy books, right? That's kind of your favorite
Yeah.
genre. Um, and are you someone like? Have you? When was the? Are you a crier? Like, are you someone who reads a book and cries?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Just checking, just checking. I mean, no judgments. The reason why I ask is because, like, I read this book. Um, I read this book, and then I like honestly, I was really annoyed as the book was beginning. I've written a review and I just need to post it. I was kind of really annoyed with some things going on in the book, and it was recommended by little Pasifika readers, Kialani. Her Instagram is Little Pasifika Readers.
Oh, I'll look her up.
Yeah, so I think you'll look her up and you'll go, oh, I know. And so she recommended it. It's a Samoan author. I read the book. She recommended it. And she said, but sis, I only got this far because of this thing that happened. I was like, oh, but I just try to persevere and read through.
Yeah.
And then honestly, I was persevering hard. And there was this part that just like last week, honest, I was like crying. I was like, why am I crying? Why am I crying, man? What the hell? And I messaged her and I was like, sis, oh my God, I didn't even know what happened, but I just started crying like this. And she was like, do I need to continue reading the book? I was like, I don't know, but man, yo, that really got me right here. And she was like, okay, I'm gonna try and finish the book. I was like, we're still annoyed about some very particular things in the book. But
Yeah.
man, there's some Samoan culture stuff in there, and it kind of really like hit me right in the heart, got me right in the heart, and I started crying. So I wanted to know, what was the last book that you read where you were crying?
What was the last book I read? Damn, I think it was Archie Roach. He's an Indigenous author.
Okay.
Yeah, he spoke about his life as an Indigenous person here in Australia, and I think the part that really got me was when he was ripped away from his parents and he never saw them again. It was during a time where the stolen generation happened here.
Right.
Where a lot of them were taken to the missionaries, and then from the missionaries they were given to white families to be raised.
Right.
And I think just reading that, I literally was in my bed. I was eating my chips that night, and the whole tears was going into the chips, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have tea chips. That's what I'm eating. And I was like, literally, my whole tears was coming down because like the story was just so much. Like the fact that you're getting ripped away from your parents and you never see them ever again is I don't know. I don't even know how I pushed through that book, but I pushed through, and it literally just kind of left a bit of a scar on me for a little while. I had to put the book down. I took a break because my brain was just like processing the whole thing. But I said to myself, no chips and books at the same time ever again.
Ever again.
Tears in my chips because that's going to taste disgusting.
Man, well, you know what? It's good to hear that I'm not the only crier in the gang. Yes, it's good to know. Good to know. What's your all-time favorite? I mean, do you have an all-time favorite book? Maybe a childhood book. Is there? I mean, I don't. I've thought about this question many times, and I'm just like, I can't. Maybe I don't know. Like, do you have an all-time favorite?
Charlotte's Web, literally. I loved that story. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I don't know if you've read that book. Have you read that book?
I have.
You have? Yeah. I don't know. I think I don't know what it is with me and emotional books, but for some reason, this is what happened. When I was a kid, I remember going to the library. Mom would take us to the library a lot. And I think I must have borrowed this book out so many times. And she said to me, Katrina, that is the 7th time you borrowed that book. Is there no other books you can borrow besides this book? I'm like, no. But every time I read it, I end up in tears at the end because I don't know why. I just got drawn to sad books. I don't know what it is with me with sad books, but Charlotte's Web was the one that really had a huge impact on me, still does to this very day, and I don't even have a copy on my shelf. But I don't know, that was one of my favorite childhood books to read. And if any other kids who are listening to this, or trust me, go pick up Charlotte's Web. You'll love it. I loved it so much. That's my favorite book.
I agree. And then when you're not reading, I mean, I know you've said, downtime, whatever you're reading. What other things do you do when you're not creating content, when you're not reading? Are there other things that you like to do for fun? Like, do you play indoor sport, or I mean, obviously with the pandemic, but do you you said you have a creative mind. Do you design? Or I actually saw, is it on your page? It's connected to this jewelry, like a collab jewelry website.
Yeah, it's
Do you?
we just it was a jewelry company that reached out to me and my sister on the other channel, Katrina and Aesha. They asked if they could partner up with us to work with them. They wanted to send us some jewelry, and
Oh wow!
at first I thought this was a fake email because nowadays people using spam and fake emails to get information from you or credit card details or something like that. But no, this was actually someone from the company because she emailed the next day and said, "Hey, did you get my email?" And I said, "Oh dear, this is an actual email." So I emailed her back. She said, "Yeah, we'd like to partner with you. We'd like to send you some jewelry, and we're going to give you a code." And when I heard the code, I said, "Whoa, this is an actual company wants to work with us." And I just said to my sister, "Hey, we're going to be working with these people. And she's like, what?
So,
And
I mean, how
was
does it work? Yeah, how does it work? Do you wear their jewelry in your vlogs or?
I have a vlog coming up on Katrina and
Okay.
Aesha. So when that vlog goes up, there's a nice code there for all of you to enjoy.
And
So if you want some nice jewelry, I got the code there.
please tell me you're getting some. Please tell me, sis, you're getting some money out of this. Please tell me you are.
My YouTube channel, not at the moment, but getting stuff from companies that's for free and I don't pay nothing. That's pretty much how I'm getting paid at the moment.
So I'll be like, oh, yes, she's a bit of a high roller. She's getting there, fam. She's getting there.
I wish, because, if it was, this would be my full-time job.
Yeah, because when I saw that link, I was like, oh, what? Is she, I thought that you were designing jewelry. So I was like, yo, I gotta bring this up. I gotta ask.
No, I'm glad that you asked. No, they gave us a code. So pretty much when that vlog goes up, I will definitely give the code. That code is for use. You can use it and buy yourself some jewelry.
I'll be like, excuse me, I'm just calling. I'm calling to claim this code, but she actually said I could get an extra 75% off. So, talk to Katrina about it. That's what she told me. That's cool, sis. That's cool. Man, I love that you're doing all these different things and connecting with, partnering up with just companies and getting your brand out there.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
really
shocked with
exciting.
you, man. To be honest, when I started this, I didn't think it was gonna be anything, and to where it is now and doing this it just makes me happy because this is what I've always wanted to do from the first time. But I was just so scared going into it, and I think I've learned now. Don't be scared. If you got a passion for something, just do it. Just do it. Just pick up the camera, pick up the mic, go for it, because you never know. This is where you'll end up, honestly. But with podcasts, with someone like you, and just running a booktube channel, it's literally, it's a lot to do. It's a lot to take in, but I love it. It's a passion that I've got, and I'll continue to do it so that I can share it more on my platform.
And that's great to hear. Like I said, I love your passion and vibe and love that you're just doing these things that make you happy. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, like if you weren't happy and you were doing it, forcing yourself, right? That's when it becomes overwhelming and it just bogs you down. So it's cool that you're in it and you're like, yo, this is what I love to do and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it my way, which is super important. So in terms of like, I couldn't have a bookstagrammer come on and not ask for book recommendations. What do you have, a book or a few book recommendations for our audience? It might even be a childhood book.
Yeah,
I've
got a few here.
Go ahead. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
So I think the first one I have is, and I think this is like pretty common for a lot of people, Dawn Raid.
Yep.
So I've got this one to kind of recommend because I'll be honest, I've never heard of this book before. I came across somebody's bookstagram who had it, and I said, I need to get my hands on that book. What's that book about? And honestly, it's really, really good. I love this book. You don't have to be a young adult to read. You can be older, honestly. It's for everybody, but it talks about what's going on with the Dawn Raids. I think just recently there was a apology that happened in England. So this book is definitely one of them. And I think the author of this book, she's part of that Dawn Raid group. I'm not quite too sure because I think I did see her there. Pauline Smith. But honestly, I definitely recommend this one. This is probably one of my favorite books. Once again, I did cry from this one as well because there were some hard-hitting topics in here, but fantastic. I loved it. The second one I have is Grace Brought Me Here, which is this one.
I've got that and I haven't even, it's on my list and I haven't even gotten up to it. It's still on my TBR. Oh, carry on.
My gosh. Honestly, sis, like this book is so good. Like I don't know why it's not hyped up as much as I thought it would be.
Right.
But I'm gonna hype it up on this podcast. Honestly, when you have the time,
Yeah.
read this book. It's not that long. It's literally the smallest book. And after this, once again, another book that's made me cry.
Yeah.
I loved it. There's so many tough topics, like specifically in the Pasifika community. She talks a lot about domestic abuse, and she really puts, honestly, this book, the writing in here, I don't know why it's not hyped up, but honestly, pick this up. I mean, I read this in one night. It was just fantastic. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it for anyone.
Don't.
So I'll leave it there. The next one I have is, I don't know if you've read this one. It's Becoming by Michelle Obama. Oh, loved it. I'm not even going to talk too much about it, honestly. This is one of my top favorite books. I felt like when I read this book, I felt like I knew Michelle better than I did just watching her on like TV or media. Literally, I felt like I was sitting down with her at coffee and we were just having a chat about her life. That's what this book feels like. It was so good. It is quite a big book, but you'll see some really nice pictures in here. I actually find Michelle Obama like a really great role model for younger people, those who want to be in leadership roles. She's the go-to woman, honestly. The best book. And I think there's a YA version of this as well.
Yep,
So
I've got the YA version.
you got the YA one?
Ding.
Oh yeah, you do.
I do. And you have to listen to the audiobook because you know how it's so interesting. You know how you're saying, oh, it feels like I'm sitting down with her. It feels like we're having a chat. When you listen to the audiobook, it feels like we're in exactly as you've said, like, right? I read that, but I also listened to the audio, and it just feels like you're just having this convo. You're seeing the world through eyes that have just experienced a lot, and it's just so I loved it. I got the book because I wanted to show my students. A lot of them had read that, and then they found out there was like a YA version. They were like, "Why didn't I wait for the shorter book?" And I was like, "Well, it's good on you for reading the long version." But yeah, so
damn, I should have. When I saw the YA, I was like, "Oh, damn, I read the long one." But I was like, "Oh, good." But I'll take up that one about the audio because it sounds like it's a lot better. And I think she's reading it, isn't it?
Yes, and I have this thing with audiobooks. Like, I'm definitely someone who I love memoirs, and a lot of the memoirs I read, I won't listen to it unless it's read by the author because I just feel the emotion. I mean, there are some great Audible readers out there, but I just feel like when it's a memoir and it's someone's personal journey and life experiences, I just need to hear that raw emotion from the person itself.
On the person. Oh wow.
Like, and yeah. Honestly, sis, you won't regret it. Trust me.
I will. That means after I'm done here, I'll probably be downloading it on Audible. And I think the last one I have is this one right here, which I'm pretty sure you got a copy sent to you as well. I was very impressed with this book, honestly. I haven't come across an author who literally depicts the future, or not depicts it, but talks about the future and also related it to climate change and Polynesian culture. I was so impressed. I was like, wowzers. When's the second book coming out, Tonga?
I know.
You need the other one. I can't wait this long.
For real, shout out to Tonga Victoria, to the sis Tonga Victoria. I mean, she knows how we are. Come on, sis. I know the audiobook is dropping soon, but me too. Damn, sis. I was like, when's book 2 coming? Is it coming soon? Like next month? I mean, I'm so impatient. So
I was just like, I feel like messaging you, Tonga, because we need this. Like, I can't wait. Look at this. I had to annotate it. Literally. Come on. Next book.
You know what? There are so many ways. I'm so curious about where book 2 is going because the way book 1 ended, there are so many possible storylines. So I'm like,
Yeah.
man, they're gonna just keep us waiting. No, I mean she is. I mean, wow, I was blown away. I mean, well, we both feel the same way. I was just like, when you come across a writer like her, and it's just, man, she was fantastic. I honestly could really imagine it. Like I told her, I was like, I feel like I can see this on the big screen. I can see this,
Yeah.
as a series or something. Um, and again, just so many possible storylines with the characters.
Yeah, I had
You
the
know?
same thing too. I actually did a review and I said to myself, this should be a movie. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's me, but that's what I was seeing from this book was it should be a movie. Who knows? Maybe in 10 years Tonga will be famous
Yeah.
and we'll get invited to her premiere or something. Don't forget us, Tonga. Don't forget us.
Don't forget us, sis. Don't forget
Yeah.
us. But yeah, it's she did an amazing job. And like even when you chat to her, I mean, it's just so deep and like those deep, meaningful conversations. Like,
Yeah.
um, man, she does a lot of really great stuff in the community where she
She
stays,
does.
and um even with literacy programs and things like that. So I can't wait to. I'm glad you showed the book, and I can't wait to to read more, to see what's coming next, and to hear the audio drop. I can't wait for that either. So
Yes, I know. I'm excited too. I know she's doing a podcast, I
yeah,
think.
yeah,
She
yeah.
started a podcast, so I haven't really been on there yet, but I'll have a look. But it's just good to see it like our own people getting
Yeah.
out there and just taking a leap. And I give credit to you for doing a podcast. Honestly, I don't see many
Thank
Pacifica people doing it, but sis, man, you're killing it. You're killing the
you.
game. So I love it. Good to see it.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I know I was just like, we'll be doing an hour, and I'm looking at the time, weary of the fact that we're going over. But I usually like to thank you again for your book recommendations. Like,
No, no worries.
I 200% support those book recommendations, and say to everyone listening and watching, check those books out. I like to, ask the guests to wrap up by giving some words of encouragement, some words of advice to our young people, to audience members, to anyone who's listening. And you've already dropped some gems earlier, but I'll give you another opportunity to see, what other words you have to kind of wrap up the show. But before we do that, Katrina, Miss Polynesian Reader, sis, I appreciate you so much for coming through. I know it's a Sunday there. I know you've had church, you've just come back from church, and we're now online doing this podcast. So I do appreciate your time. I know you're a busy woman, so I love seeing what you're doing out there. I've said it right through the
Oh,
podcast.
thank you.
I love your energy. I love your vibe. It's so funny. We're both introverts, but when I see you in front of the camera, I'm like, what? What? Really? Liar.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I just want to encourage you. Keep just keep on. Uh, the work that you do with your sister, the vlogging with mom. Keep on doing what you do. We need more of our people out there promoting our books. If we're not promoting our books, then who is? So,
Mm.
I'm so grateful and appreciative that you've come through today. I've loved, I feel like I've known you for a long time, but we've just never
Yeah.
met. It's weird. So, I've really enjoyed learning about your culture, learning about your roots and who you are, a little bit about your family. So just keep on, stay strong, stay safe out there, with this pandemic and everything, especially in your field of work. But I'll hand it over to you now just to bless us with some words of wisdom, sis.
All I just want to say is you got a passion for something, go for it, guys, and don't hold back. I know if you're scared and you're just thinking, oh, should I do it? Just do it. Trust me. You don't want to regret it in a couple years. You'll be like, oh, I should have started it. Just start now. Today's the time to do it. And be proud of who you are. Be proud of the person that you represent, the culture that you come from. Be proud and hold that, you know, in your heart and in your mind, because, you know, we are the next generation to kind of carry this on. I know I get encouraged by my own family that you guys are the next generation. I think that's kind of glued in my head now. So yeah, I've just realized that you are the next generation to lead things, and be ready and be proud of where you come from, who you are, and don't be ashamed to do what you got to do, because, you know, there's others out there that maybe who are watching this right now probably saying, she's right, maybe I should start something. Start. Today's the day. Don't wait till tomorrow.
That's the mic drop. That's the mic drop right there.